to black and colored. So I'm letting you know, listen up. This was going on back in the 1700s, where you've got these melanated people that have come into the land and started stepping on and degrading the status of the original people. So when we look at it, they want to tell you, the Europeans came over here. I need y'all to take notes. Take notes and pay attention who the Europeans were. The original Europeans were melanated people. Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Morocco, Montezuma. These were your original Europeans. So when you hear the term European, you just thinking light-skinned people. No, there were dark-skinned people that came in here and started degrading, first of all, the status of the original people and then enslaving them. So we got to understand that this has been going on. This is not just, this is just the Albions against the melanated people. No. There are people who look just like you, who will enslave you and keep you down. This is not to say you be separatist. What I'm telling you is to recognize that just because somebody looks like you does not mean they are for you. That doesn't mean you be negative or disrespectful, but you have to learn to look with a different vision. It's not just about, you my skin color, then you with me, or you not my skin color and you not with me, because that's not the case. Some of these people who, again, this is a spiritual deal. This is a spiritual deal. Some of these people who don't look like you, they'll be the first people to stand up for you, who will lay down their life for you. And the ones who look like you, and I'm going to go into this, I said it's spiritual. The ones who look like you will be ready to tear you down. Geechee lady, thank you so much for joining. Glad to see you. All right. So we're recognizing we got, just right now, 3 different groups of melanated people. Now, I'm going to go into this because I want to get into some deeper history back, in biblical history. I want to get into that. Because another group of melanated people came into the game. All right. When Britain lost the war, the Revolutionary War, they brought in George Washington, so they infiltrated from the inside. But then what ended up happening is when they lost, they called in the dogs. Now, I need y'all to understand something. When I say they called in the dogs, Britain got their butt kicked by the United States of America, these Moors here, and they were working, of course, with the Indians too, the Indian tribes. And so they called in Morocco. I need y'all to understand something. Morocco and Britain have been in bed together since the 1500s, probably the 1400s, the late 1400s. What do I mean? Look up the Barbary Company. Look it up and find out who owned the Barbary Company. What is the Barbary Company? The Barbary Company is a company whereby there were all of the Barbary states were joined together in commerce. What is commerce? Where they're doing business together. All right. And I say in bed together because when you look up commerce, you find the term sex. Yeah, they were in bed together doing business since the 1400s. They were selling sugar is one of the things that were being traded, and a lot of other different commodities where they made a lot of money with each other. So this is why, people talk about how Morocco, this is Morocco, and Morocco owned the territory. No, they didn't. You're not going to find that in none of the treaties. All right. And so the deal is, when you look at really what's going on, Britain and Morocco, because Britain called in Morocco to help fight off the United States of America, or these Moors, these other Moors. So there are two different groups of Moors now. You got the Moors of Morocco who coming in here, Tunis, Algiers, or the barbaric states. And then you got these Moors who are calling themselves Americans. All right. And so now what happens is Morocco comes in and shuts down the ports. Morocco and the other Barbary companies, they shut down the ports of the United States of America and just, barbaried their way into the whole game. It's like, well, we're going to shut down your ports if you don't pay us. And the United States of America was refusing to pay. And when they shut down the ports, you can recognize it financially, it was devastating to the United States of America. This is where the Barbary treaties come in. Look it up. Barbary treaties. Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Montezuma, and Morocco made treaties with the United States of America. Why? Because they needed, the United States of America was like, we need to be able to trade. Let's work out some kind of deal with these people so that they stop shutting down our ports. Well, what were they doing? Listen, what Morocco would do was seize the ships of the United States. And then they'd steal everything off the ships and then sell it. Well, what was on these ships? Slaves and other goods, but mainly slaves. Well, who were these slaves? Remember, these Moors, they melanated people. Well, who were these slaves? These were Albions. Thank you, Pretkesh. These were Albions. Look it up. Look up the Barbary treaties. And find out what were they carrying. Yeah. And so this is why I tell you all, you have to understand what the term slave means. It comes from the term Slavic and Slovakian. These were not melanated people. They were Albions. Okay, and Tomahawk said Morocco were the first country to accept the U.S. as a continent. Exactly. Yes, they did. But this is not Morocco. All right. So what it was, Morocco was a sovereign accepting another sovereign, United States of America, and recognizing them. So Morocco had a lot of power, and they were saying, hey, we know them. They're a continent. We recognize them as a sovereign. That's the same thing we do here with UNA. When you get your treaty and your trust, then UNA says, yeah, that's a sovereign. We recognize them as another sovereign. And once you can get one sovereign to recognize you, then the rest of the community has to recognize you as well. All right. All right, Tamari. And thank you all for joining. Hell nominee. I'm hooked on phonics right here. Thank you for joining. Tomahawk, Pretkesh, Ephraim, Poetic, BT, B-Tone City. Thank you for joining. It says different tribes. That's right. They were different tribes. So we're understanding, all of these melanated people that are in the land fighting over the land. You got the original people here that have been degraded by these Moors running the United States of America, and these British who have been running over everybody getting kicked out. And then they call in Morocco. Morocco comes in and shuts down the port. All of these right now, they melanated folks. When do the Albions come in? After everybody's fighting. All they did was come in and take over the spoils of the war. Mask Daman, I want you to leave. If you got a question or something, put it in the inbox so I can answer it before I get out of here. So you got all of these people, these different melanated groups of people that are fighting. Now, I need y'all to understand something. All right. I told you Morocco was fighting with Britain. And then you got these Moors who are running the United States of America that have degraded the status of the original people of the land to black, colored, and Negro. And now you've got the original people of the land today who don't know who they are. They're being told, oh, call yourself Moor. Well, if you say you Moor, you're saying you from another land. Moor means, and this is not, don't have nothing to do with skin color. Moor is a term that means someone who sailed on a ship or did a job on a ship. Look up mooring, M-O-O-R-I-N-G, or moored, M-O-O-R-E-D. It is a verb. It means a job done on a ship. These people were sailors. Now, the vast majority of these sailors were melanated. But even if you go ask your so-called Moors, who will tell you today, yeah, we're there. Albion Moors. Were there Albion Moors? They're going to tell you yes. And if there is a such thing as an Albion Moor, then don't tell me that the term Moor has to do with skin color. It's got nothing to do with skin color. It's got to do with a job done on a ship. If you're on the ship, this means water, admiralty. If you're dealing with admiralty, you can't own land. You cannot own land. If you're saying you're Moor, you're from another place. Thank you, Willie. So if you're saying you're Moor, you're from another place, then you can't claim land here. If you say you are a descendant of the slaves, you are a descendant of Albions, so-called white people, because remember what the term slave comes from, Slavic or Slovakian. Slavic or Slovakian. So you've got to be aware of these terms and these titles, because remember I told you this land is in land patents to this day, but you can't claim the land if you claim it to be something else. African American, Moor, Moroccan, something else that's not of this land. Then you can't claim title. The original people, and this is why I say you go to that folder. Look in our profile link, go to UNARepublic.com/docs, UNARepublic.com/docs, DOCS, and you can pull down everything in that folder. There's a document in there that lists a lot of the treaties that came before 1977. They tell the story. You can hear the ancestors speak by pulling those documents down and reading them for yourself. Geechee lady, thank you so much for joining. You're hearing George Washington look like us. Yeah, he was melanated. He had to be. He was, again, Islam or Muslim or Judaism is what he converted from. Braz Monk, a lot of Moors were pirates. Pirates and land-stealing thieves. Thank you, Braz. All right. Pirates and land-stealing thieves. So that what their purpose was when they came into the land, when Britain called them in, was to come in here and lock up the ports. And that's what they did until we came to these treaties. There's a treaty of peace and friendship, which is a part of the Barbary treaties. Go and look those up. All right. Now, I want to go into this because I talked about how you got all of these melanated people in the land fighting, and that it really is a spiritual thing. I want to go back to biblical times, all right? Because, again, I told you I had a brother who wrote me, and his thing was, well, I agree with 95% of what you're saying, but you don't want us to be separatist or whatever. Listen, until the truth is told, there will be no unity. I need you to understand that. And the problem is when we're dealing with Moors or these different groups that are wanting you to go, oh, the Moors, they were pristine people. They were good people. They were loving. They were kind. They were here to teach people. They're not telling you the truth. They're not telling you the truth about the fact that the Moors came in and they're the ones who enslaved the original people. They're not telling you the truth. And that's why I told y'all go pull down the document so you can see for yourself, because people are going to make you think that, oh, some kind of way this was Morocco. Go pull down those treaties, because in those treaties, they tell you who owned the land. And not one time did they call themselves Moors. Not one time did they say, oh, this is Morocco. Not one time did they mention an al-Mexim or a sultan or anything dealing with somebody else outside of this land. The only people who have the right to claim this land are the people who are of the land, and they would not. They never, not one time in any of those treaties said that this was land belonging to somebody else. They didn't mention a sultan. And it's important to know that, because there are a group of people trying to claim to be of this land who are not of this land. And yes, they look just like us. Why is that an issue? This is a spiritual thing. I want you all to take a look at the documents that I told you, the Declaration of Independence. Take a look at the Constitution. And I want you to take a look at who signed them. Understand that those are contracts. Those are legal contracts. Now, if there's a contract dealing with the land, the only people who have the right to sign a contract dealing with the land are the original people of the land. The only people, thank you, Clarence, for the rose, who have the right to sign any contracts dealing with the land are the original people of that land. Take a look at those contracts and see who signed them, and you won't find not one original people name on those contracts. Not the Declaration, not the Constitution, not the Treaty of Peace or Friendship. Not one of the original people's names are on those contracts. They are null and void to this day. I heard they led many down the wrong path. Who are they, Geechee? And thank you all for joining. What treaties are you referring to? Willie Lilly. Go to UNARepublic.com/docs. In there is a list of treaties. I don't want you to pull down a synopsis of the treaties. I want you to find the actual treaties and read them. When you read those treaties, you can hear the ancestors speak. See, one of the things that I don't like to do, like I don't get into reading people's books. I want to hear the ancestors speak, because I don't want your opinion on it. I don't want you to tell me what you think about it. No. I want to hear what the ancestors said. Go pull those documents down. Don't get a synopsis of it. Find the actual treaties. They come before 1777. And when you start reading those treaties, you're going to see the treacherous nature of what was going on with those coming in from Britain. You're going to see some of the other things that were being said from the actual people, the original people of the land. That's important, because that gives you a better understanding of what truly happened in history. Because people keep saying, well, we weren't there. Well, the ancestors are talking. They're talking. Go read the treaties so you can hear. All right. I want to go into Willie. What'd you say? What? UNA what? Oh, UNARepublic.com/docs, DOCS. Let me see if I can get my friend to type that in for me. Somebody type it in. Y'all, come on, type it in down here in TikTok. Thank you for the Rose user. Type it in for me in YouTube land, please, for me. UNARepublic.com/docs, DOCS, D as in David, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam. And go there, and you're going to find a list of treaties. Find those treaties and download them and read what the ancestors are saying. Let me go into, because I talk about this as a spiritual deal going on. And if y'all have any comments or any disagreements or agreements or kickbacks, I want to hear it, okay? But make sure you don't knee jerk. Don't come at me with emotions, because I know we've all learned some things and heard some things from other people. But we're not being told the truth, and I'm just giving you the facts, all right? All I can do is give you the facts, and then you can develop your own truth, because all of this is spiritual, and you got to figure out where it is you are from, okay? So if you got any kickbacks or questions or anything, type it in the inbox so that I can answer the question before I get out of here. So there was a more on more war. Sony, yes. The people who were running the United States of America, once again, they were being kicked out. These are people coming like from Christopher Columbus, who was getting kicked out of these different places because of their religious beliefs. And that's why they created the Constitution such that, you know, there's a republic where people can't try to persecute you because of your religion. Well, those are melanated folks. They started calling themselves Americans. And you can see that when you read the Peace and Friendship Treaty between the original people and Morocco. And remember what Ameri means. That's a Hebrew term meaning copper colored. Some people from another land named the people of this land or named this land American, and it was dealing with copper colored people. So yeah, it was a more on more war. And what happened is you got these Moors that were kidnapping Albions. Look up the Daughters of the American Revolution. Daughters of the American Revolution. That's one of those organizations that Hillary Clinton is in. And it's now a high society organization. But the Daughters of the American Revolution, they were the concubine to the Moors. They were the women slaves, the Albion women slaves to the Moors. So the Moors, when Morocco came in here and they started locking up the ports, let me tell you what they did. They started locking up the ports and they told these other countries, if you want to do business in the Americas, all right, you can do business, but we want tribute or booty. Y'all go find out where the term booty came from. Tribute or booty. Booty meaning payment. All right. Booty meaning payment. Tribute meaning payment. Well, what we want as payment is some Albion women who are our slaves. All right, that's what they wanted. That's what the Moors wanted when they were in here. If you want to do business in the Americas, you know, give us some tribute or booty. Albion women as slaves. Give me some booty. That's where it came from. Because when those women were here, look up Moorish concubines, look up Moorish bathhouses. I'm giving y'all the keys to look up so you can understand where this stuff is coming from. They take these women, put them in these Moorish bathhouses, they'd be naked. And the males, the Moors, would run in and out of them, sexing them at will, raping them. This is where your light-skinned people start coming from. And so these Moors started teaching their offspring from these women how to take over government. So what happened is these other nations started training these women in war, in fighting, in armory. Okay? And so when they'd sell them to these Moors, they'd be like Trojan horses because they know how to fight. And so their whole thing was to prepare themselves to take over the Moors. This is why the Moors failed. This is why melanated people was one part of the reason. But when you ask about how these Albions came in and started taking over everything, well, where was the melanated males? Well, they was sexing Becky. Yeah, that's what it was. And they bringing in these women. They're Trojan horses. They're training their offspring how to take over government. And then everybody's in here fighting. Who's going to stand? Nobody. Because everybody's fighting. This dark one's fighting against this dark one. And this dark one over here, the Indian scalping this one and this one. Because they ain't none of them paying attention. And these people from Morocco trying to get sex, anything moving. Yeah, you got a lot of dark people in here fighting. Okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to come back and answer questions. Thank you all for your questions. Geechee says, oh my God. Y'all look this stuff up because I don't want you to believe me. I want you to hear it and understand it and recognize what's going on. Again, on a spiritual level. I need to go into the biblical side now. In the biblical side, you'll understand, and I can't put my visual aids up because my people in YouTube wouldn't be able to see it, but understand this, okay? When we talk about the Israelite tribe, because that's those are the main characters in the book that we know of as the Bible. The main characters are this Israelite tribe. And one of the deals with this Israelite tribe is that in the Bible it says that everybody, all other nations are going to come against this tribe. Now let's understand that there is, for those of y'all who don't know, this stuff is biblical, and these biblical terms are used in everyday society. By the way, like and share in TikTok, in YouTube, like and share and like. And I hope y'all, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, okay? Because we're building the channel, and we still have our little difficulties, but evidently you all are able to see me in YouTube. I thank you so much for joining. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. You all here in TikTok as well. Don't forget, put your questions up so that I can answer them. All right. So now I want to get into this biblical side. These Israelites, these are your main characters of this book. And it says, in this book, it says that all of the other tribes are going to come against them. Now you've got Ham, Shem, Japheth. If you're not familiar with them, these are the sons of Noah. And again, I say to you, don't just think that the book is just allegorical. It's allegorical, yes, but it's also got a lot of historical accuracy in it. It's got a lot of historical accuracy in it. Thank you so much for the roses, Hell Nomini, Hell No Mimi. Thank you so much. So, what you got to understand, we got Ham, Shem, Japheth. These are the sons of Noah. This is where they're saying after the flood, his sons are the ones that replenish the earth. My research is showing that there's a whole lot more to it than that. But understand, when they talk about anti-Semitic, they're talking about Shem. It really is anti-Shemitic. The term Shemitic comes from, the term Semitic comes from the term Shemitic, meaning that these people claim to be of the lineage of Shem, which is one of the sons of Noah. All right. So they're saying they're Shemitic, and you got to understand there's Hamitic, which is according to the Bible, where your very dark South African people. I need y'all to understand something. When we're talking about Ham means burnt faced, very, very dark skinned people. You're talking about your Hamitic Africans, South Africans. All right. And even if you go to Africa, you can see there's a difference between the different races there. What was going on between I'm drawing a blank on the name. Remember Rwanda. In Rwanda, there was the Hutus and the Tutsis. Why are they killing each other? If these the same people, we all the same people, we're all the same color, what's going on between the Hutus and the Tutsis? Why are they killing each other? We'll come to find out they're not the same people. They're not. Just because they got dark skin don't mean and they don't even look alike. The Hutus and the Tutsis, they look like relatives of the original people over here, the Americas. Whereas the Hamitic Africans, they look like real dark skinned, different race of people. That's because they are. Now, I need to go back to this. You got your Hamitic people, they dark. You got your Israelites, who are brown skinned people. And then you got your Japheth. Now, they want to say that Japheth was Albion. According to my research, all these, Ham, Shem, and Japheth were all melanated. But the one tribe that's coming from the group of people that are of this book, these were your Israelites. And once again, all these people are brown around them. But God is saying that this group of people are his people that are coming from Shem. Now, I need y'all to understand something. Shem had a lot of other people in that lineage, and not just the Israelites. So then there's Moabites, and then there's another group who are Edomites. All of these people are brown people. Thank you, Ephraim. These are brown people. And the Bible says that all of the other nations will come against the Israelites. That means the Moabites, which are their cousins, the Moabites, which are their cousins, the Edomites, which are their cousins, will come against them as well. So they all join together. This means the other distant relatives, your Hamitic Africans and your Japheth, they were to come against them. These are all dark-skinned people. I need y'all to understand it's not just a physical thing here in today's time. It goes back into biblical time, and it goes back into spiritual times. Y'all got to understand this, because somebody's your same color doesn't mean they ain't supposed to come against you. That's what the book said, that all of the other nations and there was a lot of other nations that were brown would come against them. So if you're considering yourself to be an Israelite, in some kind of way ended up in this land, then you got to understand that all of the other nations were supposed to come against you, and the vast majority of which were melanated people. And once again, some of them might be in your family. Some of them might be sleeping in your bed. And you got to understand, it's not just a situation where you can know, oh, we the same color, so we family, we're going to build together. Or you not my color, and so we can't build together. That you got to have a different mindset, a different eye. You have to have a different vision if you're trying to build in this game. A different vision. Because here's the thing, and I get into this on a spiritual level, because spiritually, you're going to attract to you who you are. If you want to attract the right people, regardless of what their skin color is, change you, and automatically the right people are going to show up. You don't even have to look for them. They might not even look like you. But those are going to be the people who you build with. All right. All right. Now, let me see if I have any questions. I appreciate all of y'all for joining. Everybody over here. Geechee, can you guys still hear me? Geechee lady says that's sad. What's sad, Geechee lady? Sorry you didn't go live. Okay, I can't read all that. If you got me, Prabath, I appreciate it. Hook it up, because I can't I can't read that whole thing. All right. Now, who has any comments? King One says facts. Thank you, King One. Pritesh says, come on. I'm coming. I was here says 1492. Yeah, Christopher Columbus time. PJ Red says amateurites. That's another one of the relatives over under the and if I'm not mistaken, PJ, is that I'm sure that's under the Hamitic, or the Shemitic lineage. Ephraim says, speak sis, I've got you on YouTube. Thank you so much, Ephraim. After hearing that, I understand why we can't unite as one. Mr. Funk. Yeah, and that does, it is kind of sad, but at the same time, you have to just respect what it is, because once you understand who the people are that you're dealing with, now you can respect their nature, and you can possibly build with them. You got to respect people's nature. That's the problem. We just assuming that, because you brown skin, we cool, but you got to recognize who you're dealing with on a spiritual level. And then once you understand who they are spiritually, you can respect their nature. And then you can build. Because the thing is, you might have someone where you know not to put them in a particular place to tear down your whole system. All right. So let's say you got somebody in your organization and they a big mouth and they just talk and they yap and they got bad energy, and you know not to put them too close to you. But what you also know is that they big mouth is going to help you get the attention you need. So you put them in a specific place so that they can't tear down what you build. And you got to respect who they are. I see who you are on a spiritual level. I really do appreciate this asset that you bring to the table. So I'm going to have to put you over here to make sure you don't tear down what I'm building over here. You got to respect the nature, and then you can build with them. But if you just think, oh, yeah, you my brother, I'm going to bring you in. You know, like one of the mentors, they'll tell you, you know, don't put somebody who's broke over your money, because they're more likely to steal. That's not to say that all people who are broke have bad integrity, but you don't want to give somebody the opportunity to do that. So if they broke and they got bad credit, well, I love you. I love what you offer. I'm going to put you over here on intake, bringing people in. But I'm not going to put you in over here where the funds are, because I don't want no mess. I'm not going to give you, I don't want to put you in a situation where you could possibly start something. All right. So that's all we're saying. Just recognize the energy that's coming off of people, respect their nature, and put them in a place where they don't hurt you. That's all I'm saying. And some people you just cannot work with, because it's not in their spirit to help you build. Thank you, Pretkesh. Don't ignore the signs. All right. Do I have any more comments? Any questions? Sad that you can be sleeping with your enemy. Yes, a lot of women are. A lot of men are. And the problem is that we have to learn to respect people's nature. And until we do that, then we're going to keep going in circles and thinking that, oh, just because we're all the same color, we're supposed to build, and not. And you're just going to be frustrated. It's a frustrating thing to try to build with people who you think are supposed to be with you, and then they tear it down. But the problem is really us. As we start learning to be righteous and more righteous in who we are, we're going to attract the right people, period. This is just, that's how it's going to happen. Okay. One Big Chef says phenotypes. Thank you, One Big Chef. Celebrity, thank you for joining. Daylab, thank you for joining. Do I have any other questions? I thank you all for the roses and the love. Y'all are so beautiful. Y'all just my reflection. That's what you are. Thank you, Predcash. Everyone wants our inheritance. Tomahawk says yes. So let me say this before I get out of here. When we're talking about inheritance. Also, in that site that I told you all to go to, you can download the Iroquois Confederacy. Okay, in the Iroquois Confederacy, it's telling you, you know, who were the original people of the land and the owners of the land. That is a treaty and a trust within itself, the Iroquois Confederacy. And that came before the Constitution. As a matter of fact, the Constitution is based off of the Iroquois Confederacy, which the Iroquois Confederacy was a government of the original people that they used to run nations as far north as Canada and as far south as South America. So pull that down and get an understanding of what this land is. So getting back to this, the original people of the land are the only ones who have the right to write any contracts concerning the land or to make any statements concerning the land. But the problem is that the original people don't know who they are. So the land is under trust. And these people who call United States of America are claiming to be the fiduciaries and trustees of the land until the original people get in their right mind. Now, here's the problem, original people. When you open your mouth you sign contracts. Simply opening your mouth, you sign contracts. It's like when you open your mouth and you say, oh, I'm black, you sign a contract. And that contract says that you are a dead, fictitious entity with no rights or entitlement to any land here. That's a contract when you open your mouth and say that, especially when you put it on paper anywhere saying you're black, or you're writing a contract. So what we learn to do is recognize what contracts we are writing. Also, when you open your mouth and say, oh, I'm a Moor, or oh, I'm African American, you are once again degrading yourself and throwing yourself up under a different contract saying you have no entitlement to this land. As the original people of this land, when you open your mouth and you say, oh, this is Morocco, you have given title of your land to somebody else. I'm going to go back to this and reiterate this. Morocco and United States have been in bed together, and they are still in bed till this day. So if you get people trying to tell you to call this Morocco, you need to understand that is a contract, and you as the original people can say that. You the original people that can turn this land over to somebody else. So why is it important to understand who's working together? When you see the Moorish Science Temple of America, for example, and they're flying this Moroccan flag, and let's understand, somebody owns the Moroccan flag. Why would you think that flag has anything to do with here? And there is no documentation nowhere that says Morocco owned North America. But when you see that flag flying, especially next to a United States flag, what does that tell you? That does not have nothing to do with the original people of this land. These are two different foreign groups trying to steal the land from the original people. Y'all got to understand and recognize the game. So somebody telling you to call this Morocco, well, they trying to get you. Again, there are melanated people who don't give no two damns about your skin color or feel any kind of related to you or find it important to keep you from running into a burning building. There are people who, your same skin color, that would sell you out for $5. And the ability to stand next to somebody who they think is powerful. They will sell you out. And they're doing it. Who was the Pope bowing to? Y'all go and look, find out whose feet the Pope was kissing. What color were those people? What color were they? I need y'all to go and do some research and understand this is not about me being separatist. Once again, you need to understand who's who in this game so that you can learn to conduct yourself accordingly. So you can start respecting what you're seeing in your face and not keep allowing people to come in and tear down what you're building. Okay, that's very important. Same game. Thank you, Pretkish. Different faces. Same game, different faces. This goes back to the biblical times. This goes back to other lifetimes. We are all spiritual entities. We've been here many times before. We're going to be here many times after. And once you get your own spiritual self in order, the right people, you're not even going to be worried about skin color, because the right people are going to show up in your life, and everybody else going to disappear. All the ones who are not supposed to be there, they're going to disappear. They're not going to be able to hurt you. They're not going to be able to harm you. But get your right self, your spiritual self in order, intact. The right people are going to show up. The information that you want is going to show up. And the ones who are there about tearing things down, they're going to disappear. Gregory says they were Moors. Who were Moors? Who was African? Derek says they were African. There were Africans, so-called Africans, and then there was so-called Moors. I saw the Pope bowing. Yeah, the Pope was bowing to who? Some copper-colored woman feet. They didn't look copper-colored. They looked dark dark, melanated, is what it looked like to me. And they were very tall. Who they were bowing to, they were Africans. And again, remember, Moors, the term Moors has nothing to do with skin color. So yeah, they could have been Moors. Moors means people who sailed. And let's understand that the term was given to mostly melanated people because most of the Moors were melanated or dark skinned, but it had nothing to do with skin color. So yeah, Africans sailed too. All right. The founding fathers of America were Freemasons. Were they Freemasons? What does Freemason mean? Free. So let's understand what Mason means. Mason, we break it down. We get Ma for mother and son for offspring of the mother. A Mason is someone who was a male, mainly being taught the esoteric knowledge of what this dimension means by the woman. And originally, your Masons respected the woman, revered the woman, and especially when we get into the 7 Hermetic principles, that's dealing with the universal laws. They had to learn the importance of recognizing the laws that deal with the very makeup of your third dimension. That's what Masonry was about. It was the woman, because the woman was the one who had all of the knowledge, all of the wealth, all of the land, all of the power. That was hers. And she started teaching it to her son, Mason. Ma for mother, son, offspring of the mother. What is Freemason? These are people who were going against the woman. That's what the free means. Free me from her. I don't know if they were Freemasons. I got to think they were Masons. But we need to understand the difference between the two. All right. Anybody have any questions or comments before I get out of here? Geechee and Willie and all my other people in YouTube land, thank you all so much for joining. All my folks in the TikTok, anybody, thank you for joining. Teron Smith, Teron, I think it's Teron. Thank you for joining. User, Pretkish, you've been so wonderful. Mark Powell, and everybody who's given flowers and roses and hearts. Y'all are so beautiful. The founding fathers of America were Freemasons. Thank you, Bell King. Gregory, they were Moors, yes. Okay, so I hope y'all have gained some knowledge from this. Just remember that when we're dealing with, skin color or what have you, remember that there's a spiritual game going on here. And even if we go back to the Americas, there were a lot of brown people fighting against each other. Even if we go back to biblical times, there were the Egyptians who enslaved the Israelites. Those are two brown people. The same thing happened in the Americas. The same thing happened in other people, in other countries around this planet, where melanated people went in and enslaved another group of melanated people. So when you enslave, you have to be enslaved. As our ancestors, we're dealing with dirt that we have put out as ancestors. So remember, when we talk about our ancestors, you are your ancestors. Ray Pierce says, so if you do not say African American, what are you supposed to say? Thank you, Ray Pierce, for that question. Go to and find us on YouTube at UNARepublic. Okay, find us on YouTube, because I go through a session about Don't Call Me Black. Check that session out. I just did Don't Call Me Black. And because I get a lot of people saying, well, what do we call ourselves, Diva? What are we supposed to say? All right, don't say black. Don't say African American. Say child of God if you at loss for anything. Why? Listen up. You need to go check out my other videos, Ray Pierce, because as a child of God, you have God-given rights that every so-called country on this planet has to respect. Every country. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, your height, your race, your sex, what you choose to be called. As long as you know you're a child of God and you know how to stand on those laws, then you got to be respected. That's your nation right there. But above and beyond that, we show you how to create your own nation. You have the right to do that. All kind of laws give you the right to create your own nation, and you call yourself what you want. Now, I call myself Diva. You might say copper colored. You might say melanated. Choose any term, but don't say black, African American, Negro, colored, nor minority. Is your name on YouTube the same? UNARepublic, Pretkish. UNARepublic, thank you for the question. Daylab, thank you so much for the love. Nika, thank you. Before I get out of here, how are we to identify if not Afro-American? Ephraim, I just answered that. I want you to go to our YouTube page and get more information on what you need to do, because you need to become your own nation. All right. I love y'all. Wealth is your right, birthright. Halo, greetings. The Raw Truth. Thank you for joining on YouTube. Once again, you guys, you can find us here Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we're going to get started in 2 days. So if you want to be a part of the university, I want you to send a message. Check out our link in the bio so you can